So I realized something recently. The older that I get, the less interested I am in having to explain myself. Not because I don't care about other people, and it's not because I don't care about anything. I actually think I care about a lot of things. But I've gotten much more comfortable with doing things differently than what I used to do. Like changing my mind again, saying no, and just letting people think whatever they're going to think. I actually made a video about this a few months ago, and since then, I've come up with a few more things. So today, I'm sharing 12 more things I no longer care about. And some of these things I used to care about quite a bit. I used to be much more active on social media, especially on Instagram and Instagram stories. Whenever I would go out and go somewhere, I would post it. If I made a meal at home that looked really nice, I would probably take a picture and post it on stories. If I was out doing something fun, I would definitely take pictures and videos and post it online later. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but I've gotten to the point where I don't feel the need to document and post everything anymore. I can go out to dinner and just eat. I could cook a meal and not take a picture of it. Well, actually, I might take a picture of it, but I'm not going to post it. I can have a really fun and exciting day and not share it with the internet that I had a really fun and exciting day. And I think there's something very freeing about having experiences that are not documented and shared. I don't need everyone to know what I'm doing. And honestly, I don't think I need everybody to know what I'm up to. I did a lot of fun, cool things this past year, and I didn't post any of it. I think there is something very nice and special about just keeping certain experiences to yourself. So, this next one is something that I have gotten significantly better at. If someone were to ask me to hang out, I don't feel the need to have this elaborate story as to why I can't. I used to think that no wasn't enough, that I needed a reason and a really good reason. I can't because I have a project I'm trying to finish at home, or I can't because, oh, my tire is flat, or I can't because whatever reason, even if it's made up, until I felt like I justified saying no. Nowadays, I'm much more comfortable with just saying, no, I can't make it. No, I'm not available. And sometimes I actually don't have a reason. And sometimes I just don't want to go. The last few months, I've definitely had some invitations like these where I just had to say no because I'm not free. But deep down, it's because I don't really want to do those activities, or I don't want to be around the people that they're hanging out with. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to not want to go. And I think sometimes we confuse being considerate with being obligated to justify every decision that we make. I think we can still be kind, respectful, and appreciative of the invitation, but still say no. You don't have to come up with some big story as to why you can't attend someone's birthday party. I think this one is something that I've really had to unlearn. If I had a day with nothing scheduled, there's this instinct to think, okay, what am I going to accomplish today? I should clean, I should organize, I should work on a video, I should work on my website, I should work on this project, I should exercise, I should do something. And sometimes I actually want to do those things, but other times I don't. Sometimes I have days I just want to lay around and take my time. Take my time getting out of bed, take my time getting ready for the day, take my time to make my breakfast and eat it. If I wanted to do something like go out for a walk or something, I don't feel the need to stack productivity tasks and to-dos on top of it. And I've gotten much more comfortable with that. Sometimes I plan to be productive and it just doesn't happen. And I'm okay with that. Not every free hour needs to be optimized. Yesterday, I had a day completely open, nothing scheduled, and I took my time. I took my time in the morning. I took my time to get ready. I took my time to have breakfast. I took my time to just catch up on a few chapters on a book I'm reading. I didn't do anything productive until later in the afternoon. Sometimes leisure is what I'm supposed to be doing. This next one is probably going to sound very specific, but I think there is a much bigger point here. For the longest time, I identified as a vegetarian. And I still eat vegetarian probably 90% of the time. But now I do eat fish at least once a week. And during the holidays, I might sneak in a little meat here. And I've gotten to the point where I really don't care to maintain that label anymore. And honestly, I used to care a lot about what people would think. Like if I had spent years talking about being vegetarian and suddenly out of nowhere, they see me eating a carne asada taco, what would they think? Are they going to think I'm a hypocrite? Am I going to have to explain myself? And now I'm just like, I changed my mind, or I changed my habits, or I'm just doing things differently. And that's okay. I don't need to maintain an identity just because I used that to describe myself before. And I think this actually applies to a lot more than just food. We're allowed to change. We're allowed to try something different. There is so much happening in the world all the time. The economy, politics, housing, inflation, cost of living, people's spending habits. And because we're online constantly, there's this expectation that we should have a take on everything. And honestly, I don't. I don't really feel the need to anymore. I still have opinions. I still care about things. And obviously, I care a lot about money. I talk about budgeting and frugal living on my channel all the time. I still believe that people should take personal responsibility for their finances. But I've also realized, what's my opinion going to do? I'm not going to convince the entire internet to start budgeting. I'm not going to fix the economy just because I made a YouTube video about it. And I don't feel the need to insert myself into every subject just because everybody else is talking about it. Sometimes I can just say, I don't know, or I just don't have an opinion about it and just move on with my day. So this next one is actually something that just came up recently. But I think there's this weird expectation that just because you've known somebody for 10, 15, 20 years, that we're supposed to maintain the exact same relationship that we've had before. And I don't necessarily believe in that anymore. Sometimes people grow in different directions. Sometimes people naturally become less close. Sometimes the friendship changes. And that doesn't necessarily mean that something bad happened. I don't think that every relationship that fades has some kind of bad guy in it. But I also don't feel the same obligation anymore to keep a friendship going just because of the history. Recently, I texted an old friend, and she and I have been friends ever since middle school. So that's been a very long time. But nowadays, we only text each other on each other's birthdays, and that's it. Short and sweet. We don't spend a long time catching up. Just a quick text just to let her know that I did think about her. While we had a really good friendship when we were young, things are different now. We've changed. We have almost nothing in common. I can appreciate what somebody meant to me at some point in my life without needing to keep them in that exact same role in my life forever. This is probably something that a lot of people can relate to, but I no longer care to look like I have my whole life figured out. I don't need the perfect place to live. I don't need to have the perfect career. I don't have to have the perfect routine. I don't need to look like I'm constantly improving myself. And honestly, I think this is one of those weird side effects of social media. You see everybody presenting a very polished version of their life, and then you start feeling like you should also look just as polished. But real life is messy. Sometimes you have bad days at work. Sometimes you just have a weird week. Sometimes you don't accomplish what you mean to accomplish. Sometimes your house is messy. Like my apartment, it looks kind of clean right now, but over there it's a big old mess. I just pushed it aside for this video. Sometimes you're just still figuring things out, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to perform for everybody that I have my life together. There's a lot of advice about finishing what you start. And I certainly understand the value of commitment. But sometimes you start something and you realize, I actually don't want to do this anymore. And I don't think you should necessarily force yourself to finish something just because you started it. Maybe you started a hobby. Maybe you bought something for a certain project. Maybe you started reading a book. So I have been reading some of these books starting this year, like this one. Everybody reads this one. Um, some spiritual stuff, some self-development stuff, and this one. Everybody knows this one. I started reading these this year, and for some reason, I can't bring myself to finish it. Like, this book started out really good, but now it's in the investing part, and it's just way over my head. I'm not investing yet. I am debt free. I have savings and all that, but I can't seem to bring myself to finish this book or the other ones. I don't know what it is, but I just can't. But then I switched gears. I started reading fiction books, something I've never done before. I'm reading about witches and vampires and like time travel and stuff like that. And I've actually finished 4 books within a matter of months, whereas I can't even finish those other ones. Yes, I picked up those books because I wanted to learn something, but then I realized, nope, not for me, not right now. I think it's okay to quit certain things that are just not serving you right at this time. And you don't have to justify quitting something and say something like, well, I learned something from it. Sometimes you might just not want to do it anymore, and that is totally enough. I was recently invited to go to a line dancing class, and that is something that is completely out of my comfort zone. But the class was free, and they were doing $2 tacos, so obviously I had to go. And I was terrible at the dancing. I was missing steps, I was tripping over myself, I was missing turns, I looked completely lost. And the funny thing is, being a musician who has performed for many, many years, I used to worry about looking like I knew what I was doing when I was in front of other people. But this time, I kept going. And at some point, I looked around and realized nobody really cares how good you're doing. Everyone was in their own world. Everyone was more concerned about learning the steps. Everyone was messing up. And ultimately, we were all just there to have a good time. And I also realized I don't have to be good at something just to enjoy it. I don't have to be competent at everything I try. I can just be terrible at something and still have fun. And I think that is a very freeing way to live your life. This one might sound strange coming from someone that talks about frugal living, but I don't care about optimizing every single purchase anymore. I still care about being intentional with my money, and I still don't waste money. But I also don't want to spend 3 hours researching if I want to spend $20 on something. Sometimes I might buy the slightly more convenient option. Sometimes I might buy something that isn't the absolute best value. And that's okay, because I don't want frugality to become just another thing that consumes a lot of time and mental energy. There comes a point where saving $5 isn't worth driving all the way across town just to save $5. I used to spend a lot of time just driving all across town to different grocery stores to just get the best price on every single thing. But now I don't care to do that anymore. If I know everything is at Trader Joe's, I will just grab everything at Trader Joe's, even if a few of the items were an extra dollar or so. And that is something that I've become much more comfortable with. This is probably one of the bigger ones for me. I used to identify very strongly with being a musician. That was how I described myself. That was a huge part of my identity. And I still love music and I still like to play, but it's not how I'm making a living anymore. I work in customer service full time now, but I don't consider that as my identity. It's something I do, but it's not who I am. And I think that is a really important distinction because jobs do change, careers change, our interests change, our priorities change. And if your entire identity revolves around what you do for work, when things change, it can be really difficult. I don't need to have one title that explains who I am. I'm just a person who does a bunch of different things. And honestly, I like that a lot better. I think this is probably the biggest one, but I no longer care to be understood by everybody. Because sometimes you're going to make decisions that nobody else understands. You're going to say no. You're going to change your mind. You're going to start eating differently than what you used to. You're going to change careers, but you're also going to stop posting on social media. You're going to stop doing something that everybody thought was so you. And I know there will be people that might think that you're being inconsistent or weird or selfish, or God forbid that you changed. And maybe you have, but that's kind of the point. I don't think we're supposed to remain the same forever just so everybody else can keep understanding us. And I've gotten much more comfortable with saying, you don't have to understand my decision for me to be okay with it. I think that's really what all of these things have in common. It's not that I suddenly don't care about anything, because I still care about my finances. I care about my health, the people around me. I care about my hobbies, the things I do, the things that are important to me. But I care a lot less about performing those things for other people. I don't need to post everything. I don't have to explain every no. I don't need to maintain every label I've given myself. I don't have to have an opinion about everything, and I don't need to have everyone understand me. And honestly, I think those are some of the better parts about getting older. You realize how much energy you spent worrying about those things that actually don't matter that much. And eventually you think, yeah, I just don't care anymore. Let me know in the comments below, what are some things that you stopped caring about as you've gotten older? Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.